Howdy heckin' hey my guys, how are you doing? It's been a cool second, I missed you. Anyway, on to the topic of the video. So there's not really much point in this video, it's just something I was thinking about over the last couple of days after one of my university classes. I don't know if it applies to anyone else, but I just thought I really wanted to talk about it, and that is hobbies. So if you've been with me for a little while, you'll know that I'm obsessed with drawing, I'm obsessed with animation, I'm obsessed with writing stories. Those are like the three main things I do in my existence on this earth. And I put a lot of pride in it. I'm proud to say that I am a storyteller, I am a scriptwriter, I'm proud to say that I am an animator, I am proud to say that I am an artist. And that's really what I base not my value on, but like it's something that I take a lot of pride in. So people are like, oh, what do you do? What are your hobbies? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm an artist, I'm an animator, I'm a story writer, and that's my identity essentially. Now, when I was a kid, I wasn't like this. I wouldn't fixate on two or three things. I actually had several hobbies. I was a really, really big reader. I loved playing video games. That was probably my favorite pastime. I also got into singing really early on. I don't remember the name of it, but I was part of a choir and like a singing class and everything. The stereotypical watching TV as kids do. And I used to also build a lot of constructions out of Lego and like just build houses and situations and scenarios, and I would like to build multi-story things and like just decorate them with stuff. That was a lot of fun for me as a kid. Drawing didn't really become a part of my life until the end of year 6. I moved around a lot as a kid, not because I was a bad kid or anything, but because my parents would find better alternatives to the school I was in, or we would move areas, like typical standard reasons why you would move schools. And so I think this was my third or fourth time moving from one school to another. I was going back to a primary school that I had previously been to, and I had made a lot of friends at this primary school that I was currently in, even though I was only there for like a term, and I really, really didn't want to forget them. And so what I decided to do was I was going to draw their favorite Sonic characters, because we were all Sonic geeks. It's no secret at this point that I am a huge, huge Sonic nerd. But yeah, to sort of remember these people and make sure that I kept them with me forever, I decided to draw their favorite Sonic characters. It didn't work. I've got no idea who these people are to this day, and I actually lost the pictures that I drew, which is really heartbreaking because it was the first time I had actually decided to sit down and draw something that wasn't part of a class, or that wasn't like, as a really, really young child. Essentially I was like, 11? Yeah, I would have been 11. And so drawing those characters really, really got me into the aspect of drawing, because I would look at it and be like, oh my god, that's Sonic. I made Sonic art. And so I would gush over it and draw a bunch of pictures, and I would draw pictures to the stories that I had already been writing, because I was a little bit of a writer as a kid, but not a big writer. So I would do that, and I would turn my stories into comics, and I've actually got a bunch of Sonic fan fictions in my cupboard right now. I do plan on reading them on this channel at some point. I don't know when, hopefully soon, because oh boy, they are a doozy. We're getting off topic right now though. So essentially, I discovered that art was something that I could kind of do, and I used that to put visuals to my stories. And it was a lot of fun to do, and I thought that it brought my stories to life, so to speak. And I had a DSi XL at the time, and if you don't know, there's a little app on the DSi XL called Flipnote Studio. And I didn't know what it was for at the time, so I just opened it up on a whim one day, and I realized that you could animate in it. And so I would take my stories, and I would take like my drawing skills that I had like started working on recently, and I would try and turn my written work into a purely visual work. And it was a lot of fun when I first started. I did dip out of it a little bit in about 2011. I stopped for a little while maybe, and then I think it was 2012 when I started high school. I found a bunch of people on Hatina, because you could post your animations publicly, and I found out about that, and I found a couple of animators. Their names are escaping me right now, but I found a couple of animators, and they really pushed me back into animation. And so discovering that, and discovering that there were so many emerging artists and animators out there, and the amazing stuff that you could do if you learned how to draw properly and apply the principles of animation, and like just the level of things you could do with it, little old 12-year-old me fell in love with it, and I became obsessed in honing my animation and honing my story writing and honing my visuals, because I wanted to do cartoons. Originally I didn't. I wanted to do visual design for video games, but then I tried coding and I hated coding, and so I forced all of my focus into story writing, animation, and just general design so that I could do a cartoon. And so from the age of 13 to current times, which right now I'm 19, so in that 6-year period, I had dropped all of my other hobbies and fixated on art, fixated on animation, fixated on writing stories. I stopped playing video games up until recently because my boyfriend is a gamer, but essentially I'd stopped playing video games. I dropped singing completely, which was unfortunate because everyone told me that I was actually quite good at that, but I had dropped singing. Lego, completely abandoned. It's more of a kid's hobby than anything, though I did have an uncle who loved Lego. And yeah, I just essentially dropped all of my other hobbies to put all of my focus on art and animation and storytelling because that was the career path I wanted to take. Therefore, it should take up all of my time and energy. Or so I thought. So essentially, I've had no hobbies outside of art, animation, and storytelling for 6 years now, which is interesting. And so now when I tell people I'm an animator, I'm an artist, I'm a storyteller, they're like, oh, okay, that's awesome. So what do you do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? And I just kind of blankly stare at them and it's like, art and animation is all I do. And I don't know how I feel about that anymore, particularly in the uni class that actually made me think about this. We were doing resumes or something, and on top of the skills you have and the experience you have and like your work portfolio and stuff like that, they want you to put your hobbies right down at the bottom. So I had a list of all of the programs I was efficient in, all of the skills I had, all of the things that I valued in working as a team, and it was a pretty solid resume until I got to the hobby section, because that's when it hit me that I can't write art, animation, storytelling into my hobbies because that's what the resume itself is for. Like, I'm promoting myself as an artist and animator, and they want to know what I do aside from that. And I don't do anything aside from that. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like I'm a really dull person, because everything that I was somewhat interested in and I spent time in, I stopped doing because, hey, I want to be an animator, I want to make a cartoon, I want to write a pilot, therefore all of my time and energy is going to go towards that. And anything else I had enjoyed doing, that's it, done, nada. I hadn't touched a video game that I genuinely enjoyed and that I wasn't forced to play up until maybe about halfway through 2018 when, what game was it? Actually, no, it would have been towards the end of 2018 when Super Smash Bros. Came out. That was the first time I'd sat down and been like, okay, cool, this video game comes out. I remember that I used to really like playing the old versions of this game. I'm gonna sit down and play this game. Gaming is slowly becoming more and more of a hobby, like, again, for me, because, like I said, my boyfriend is a gamer, so whenever we go over to his place or he comes over to mine, because we have 2 different consoles, we'll play different games, and it is fun. I do really like playing video games now, and it's nice to, at least for myself, to know that there are things that I do enjoy doing aside from working towards what I want to get done. Because yes, you do need to put your time and energy into things that you want to get done, but you need other stuff to do as well. And I didn't realize that for the longest time, because art, animation, and design is what made me happy, is what I enjoyed doing. And so even though I knew that it was working towards my goals and constantly working and working and working for it, it didn't feel like it was. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but it didn't feel like work because I enjoyed doing it so much. That being said, there are other things that you need to enjoy doing that don't directly tie into work or doing things for your goals. And I think I'm finally starting to actually properly process that and be like, okay, I need to do something that I enjoy doing that cannot be tied to my work, at least for a little bit, so I can like just zone out and not think about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. It's just a little bit of a fluid thought process for today, I guess. Yeah, it's just been on my mind a lot ever since that uni class, and it's just made me realize the importance of having hobbies outside of your own work. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in maybe 2 weeks or something. If you sneeze in this video, bless you, stay cozy, stay tasty. I'll see you later.